All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford and what Errol Spence Jr. had to say about the fight, and pretty much that if it does not happen right now, it will never happen. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division. Errol Spence Jr. Spoke out in response to a question about Terence Crawford and shed some light on what his perspective is about the fight and what's going on. He did that in a press junket. I don't know if that's the word that you use for it. Ahead of his fighter, Frank Martin's fight against Jackson Marinez, which will be taking place in San Antonio, Texas, this Saturday, and actually the day of this video. Very enlightening information that he gave out. Now, before I get into the meat of the video, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter, thank you so much for continuing to chop it up with me about boxing on a daily basis, like we do in the videos that we do and the live streams that we do pretty much every day. Great way, I think, to continue our love of the sport of boxing by talking about whatever subject we choose to talk about. So today, or at least one of the videos we're going to do today, because we do discuss several topics a day, many topics in the live stream, is what Errol Spence Jr. said in an interview ahead of the Frank Martin fight, which is on the undercard of the Mark Magsayo versus Ray Vargas fight taking place tonight. And he was asked about the Terence Crawford fight, and he said, look, he's there like, all right, I know you're getting tired of answering these questions. How close are we to getting this fight done? And Errol Spence Jr., who I gotta tell you, man, I have always found to be a straight shooter, right? A straight shooter, and somebody that is an optimistic fighter and really trying to go out of his way, in my opinion, to make this fight happen with Terence Crawford. Says, look, man, you know, this fight is as close as it's ever been, right? Close as it's ever been, and keep that phrase in mind. It's as close as it's ever been. And he said, but because it is as close as it's ever been, he doesn't think that if they don't fight now, that they will ever fight. Right? So he's pretty much saying, look, if we can't make it now in the situation that we're in right now, we were probably never going to be able to make this fight. Now, the last words coming out of Terence Crawford's camp, and this was with Bernie the Boxer, who is in the camp of Terence Crawford. Again, isn't the dude ain't the biggest fan of mine in the world, but I'm a big fan of him. Really does know the sport of boxing. Does a podcast, has a podcast on YouTube that he puts, you know, every couple of weeks he'll put something out. So definitely go check out Bernie the Boxer, whether he's talking about Errol Spence Jr. or whether he's talking about the Errol Spence Jr. fight, or whether he's talking about just any other fights around boxing. Definitely go check that guy out. Really did express frustration about the negotiations between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr.'s camp, saying pretty much that they believe that, you know, the fight may have to wait because they're not giving Terence Crawford what he deserves, and that they are asking for all of pretty much trying to set up all the advantages for Errol Spence Jr. and against Terence Crawford. Now, what could those things be? Now, despite a whole lot of people yapping about people's sources, and I'm going to do this for a while, man. I don't care what y'all say. A whole lot of people yapping about sources and whether or not, you know, anybody really knows what's going on in the negotiation. And I will continually repeat this, all you have to do is listen to what the people are saying that are directly involved in the negotiation, and you know what's happening. More or less, right? You're in the ballpark because of what they're saying. And what they're saying would lead, I believe, a reasonable person to the reasonable conclusion that it is Terence Crawford's monetary demands that are holding up the fight. Why would you say that? Because first, last year, Tim Smith, who is the director of communications for the PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, said on an interview that if it was him, that he would not even make an offer to Terence Crawford because he knows that the offer that they would be able to make him would be insulting, right? So Tim Smith says that a while ago, months and months and months ago, if not a full year ago, said this. Now, what is Bernie the Boxer saying now? That the offer is insulting. Bernie the Boxer is literally saying the same thing that Tim Smith said would happen. His camp is not going to like this offer. Why would they not like the offer? All you have to do is go to the lawsuit that Terence Crawford filed against Bob Arum, and you will see how much guaranteed money Terence Crawford has been getting from in his last several fights. It is now public record. He has gotten, in his last fight, got over $6 million guaranteed. Not the pay-per-view, where the pay-per-view brings in the money, right? Guaranteed. If you look at the guaranteed published purses for Errol Spence Jr., Gervonta Tank Davis, the two guys that do significantly bigger audiences and significantly bigger pay-per-views than Terence Crawford, neither of them had guarantees of $6 million. Their guarantees were much lower because they get a bigger percentage of the pay-per-views and the back end. So they wind up making a lot more money than what is listed in their guaranteed purse because of the amount of risk that they are taking and that they're comfortable taking. Terence Crawford very well may not be, and apparently is not comfortable with that level of risk. He wants guaranteed money for his fights and isn't interested as much as in the back end. So that's what he has said. That's what the actual facts lay out, right? So what are the other issues? You have the venue. Terence Crawford says that he wants a neutral site, right? That he does not want to fight in Dallas, Texas. Well, if you are not going to get a big site fee from Las Vegas, and it's going to cost you money in Las Vegas, right? Or you're want to do a stadium in Las Vegas. How would you guarantee that you are going to sell out that stadium where you have a gigantic stadium in Dallas, Texas that would be head over heels to get that fight and would probably outbid anybody else to get that fight and bring it to and give a better package than anybody else than to bring that to Dallas, Texas, right? But Bud won't do that. So because Bernie did not just say that it was the money, right? He said he wants what he deserves, which implies money. But he also said, look, they're also trying to take every advantage, right? What would the advantages be? The advantage would be the location, most likely, of the actual fight. So, but anyway, Errol Spence Jr. says, look, man, if this fight can't happen now, it probably will never happen. So the idea that, okay, we'll just put this off, this fight may have to wait a year or whatever. We may do it in 154 or something like that. More than likely, that's not going to fly. If they don't work that out, Errol Spence Jr. is just going to have to give up the dream of undisputed and move on and fight whoever it is else that these guys have. And on the real, unfortunately, there have been fights that have had almost as much buzz as this fight has had that have not worked out in the past for these similar financial and strategic reasons, right? And I'm sure a lot of people are going to dump it on some guy ducking this guy or ducking that guy. But, you know, man, it is what it is. That may not be the case. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. That's what Errol Spence Jr. had to say. You don't make it now, we ain't going to make it later. And we just all want to be pushing forward with our career. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out.